Hey guys, what's up? Jonathan here from Infinite Potential Films, and today we're going to be doing the Star Destroyer tutorial. So first things first, all the files that I use for this that aren't Shutterstock are in the description bar below, so make sure that you grab those and use them for this tutorial. Please feel free to put them in your own films, just send us some clips to see what they look like. So first things first, you want to go to a new composition, and you basically want to copy these settings roughly. The 817 is anamorphic settings and it will match the Star Destroyer. So drag that into your box here, and first things first, we're going to scrub through and we're going to get rid of this green screen. So you want to go to the effects bar and go to keying, grab the key light 1.2 and select the background. So what you're going to notice here, if you change the screen map, is you're going to notice that you've got a bit of clipping inside the whites. So make sure you bring the screen balance down to 0, go into screen matte and bring the clip white to about 40, 41, and then when you scrub through you'll notice that all those areas are now disappeared and you've got a really good outline. So after that, what you want to do is go to the tracker bar, go on track motion, and then select these 4 dots up here. I'm going to scrub through it so you can see. When you've tracked those, you want to create a new null object and edit the target as the null object. And what this is going to do is it's pretty much just going to make sure that anything that you attach to the null object follows the camera motion. So there you can see how it looks. So what we're going to need to do now is get rid of that object. So I'm going to create a mask around it and track through using the keyframe tools to make sure that that mask isn't an issue anymore. So when you get to the end of that, what you're going to want to do is you're going to invert it, and what that's going to do is it's going to make sure that the Star Destroyer is on show as opposed to the keyframes. Next thing you want to do is drag in your background element. So here we've got a nice starscape, and what I'm noticing straight away is it's way too big, so let's first attach it to the null object using the parent tool. Let's see how it looks. It looks pretty good, it looks pretty authentic, but the scale looks way out of place. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag that down. I'm happy with that, and we're going to scrub through. Looks good. And we're going to do the exact same thing now for the planet, but what I like to do is I like to go to the last keyframe of the planet, of the shot, sorry, and see if everything's in the exact same place I want it to be. So if it is, which it is now, that's great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play around with some scale and rotation elements here, and these fall completely up to you guys. If you want it to be rotated the complete opposite way, do that. And when that's done, what you need to do is you need to make a mask around it. I would suggest making the mask first. I completely shot myself in the foot here by making it second, because it sticks to the rotation. So what you want to do now is you want to go into your mask settings, and all we're going to do is add a mask feather and mask expansion, and this is going to give it that atmospheric look. Make sure you got the fall off that would be realistic to a planet, so that's great. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scrub through, make sure everything's how I like it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Yep, no, that looks good. That looks good. So I'm going to do the exact same thing to a moon here. So you don't need to see that because we've just done it. Let's just scrub through that. So what we're going to do on this next bit, guys, is we're going to create the flare for the exhaust. So what you want to do is you want to go into a new solid layer and select it as black. It doesn't really matter what you select it as, but black will make things a lot easier. So if you guys have got Video Copilot, optical flares, that's amazing. You guys can play around with the flares in here to make sure that you've got something that you really like. That's what I used in the original shot for the VFX thing. But that being said, you know, not many people do have this app. So this third-party plugin, sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Generate Lens Flare, and I'm going to search through these. You've got 3 presets here. I prefer the last one, which is this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this flare. So first things first, what you're going to need to do is make sure that your settings are on screen for this. because it'll get rid of everything that's black on the layer. And then you're going to want to basically keyframe through where the exhausts come into play. This is what I did for the video co-pilot shot as well, that I'd used for the final shot in the trailer. And it's a very tedious process, but it's something that needs to be done, so I'm going to skip through this. I'm pretty happy with how that looks, and one thing you've got to do here is when it goes off frame, make sure that you set the brightness to 0, because if you've not got any elements of that shot in frame, you wouldn't be able to see it, simple as that. And then when you can just about see it come in, set it to 100 or whatever your heart desires. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Unfortunately the flares aren't that great in here, but you've got to work with what you got. So going into the colour balance now, just playing around with the shot, getting it to what I like, and then you've got to basically create a mask around that shot to make sure that you're not getting any of the artifacts at the top of the screen, because they look a bit unrealistic to have 3 of those. And I'm just going to play around with the feathering settings here to see something that I like. I think I did eventually go back to the setting of 200 or 500, sorry, because 200, when I set it to that in a while, it looks a bit unrealistic. So again, all you're doing is setting keyframes for the mask to ensure that it follows the same path as the Star Destroyer. It's really important to not skip these steps, guys, because they're going to add realism to your shot. So I think I set the settings here to 200, but unfortunately for the final shot they were just too intense. The rings around the mask looked ridiculous, so I set it to 500. And I'm just playing around with some settings, making sure that I've got the best results for what I want personally, because at the end of the day, it's your shot, guys. You just create what you want to create. It's your media at the end of the day. So just have fun with it, don't take it too seriously, just use these shots to play around with your visual effects techniques. So I got somewhere where I was quite happy, and I duplicated this across the rest of the what do you call them? The rest of the exhausts. Sorry, that was the word I was looking for. That kept escaping me. So once you've replicated this across all 3, I'm not going to show that. I'll then colour balance the planet. So the colour balance is a really good tool. It's something where you can individually affect the shadows, highlights and midtones of your shot. I got somewhere into a reddish orange tone that I really liked, similar to what we used in the final shot for the VFX video that we put up last week, but the only difference being is I think in that original shot I used Magic Bullet looks to get the final look of the planet, whereas this we just used whatever was already installed into After Effects when you first get it. So one thing I like to do to get the glow for the planet is I use this light sweep, and I played around with the settings you can see on screen there, to basically ensure that the light sweep covered the whole planet and didn't look too unrealistic. You only want a slight glow to the planet, but what that's going to do is it's going to add sort of an atmospheric in-camera glow to the shot that'll add a bit more realism to it. Again, I think for the final shot that we used for the VFX video, I used something from Red Giant, but like you're seeing now, guys, you can use stuff that's built into After Effects and you get some really nice results. So I'm really happy with how this glow turned out here. So yeah, next thing I'm doing is adding an adjustment layer, and this is going to be for the exhaust. So what you want to do is you want to go to Distort and go all the way down to Turbulent Displace. And here it's just playing around with the settings that you really think look like a heat wave, because this is what this shot is now. This element is for the heat wave, and I'm just playing around with the settings here until I find something that I really like. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a mask, a really rough mask around the 3 exhausts as one, and then when I get to the end of the mask, I'm going to keyframe the mask to follow the motion of the shot, like we've been doing for every single thing so far, and I'm currently feathering it to about 400 roughly, give or take, just so it gives a nice fall off for the shot. So when you've keyframed it, I'm just going to scrub through that again quickly. One thing that you've got to take into consideration is that this is just adding more and more realism to the shot by adding all these layers in. So that looks pretty good. One thing that I'm noticing here is that the planet looks really unrealistic at the minute because we've added that light sweep now. So what we're going to have to do is go to curves and drop the shadows to ensure that it blends in more with the shot. You're still getting those glows in there, so don't worry about that. So that looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Next you want to go to a new solid, and you're going to select a colour that blends in with the planet. This is just for me stylistically. What I'm doing here is I'm creating a mask and inverting it, then setting the layer to soft light. So I'm setting this just above the star layer and feathering it out to about 400. And all that's doing is adding a bit of colour to the stars. It's just keeping the shot uniform. You don't need to do this step. I didn't do it for the original shot, just thought it looked quite nice. Then next what you're going to do is level your Star Destroyer. So this is completely up to the eye of the beholder. I added a bit of a red hue to the final shot. No other particular reason other than I didn't want to do any ridiculous colour grading on this because that falls down to you guys, what your preferences are. So I just wanted to add an overall sort of hue to the shot, which was red in this case. And then I ended up with something I was quite happy with here. Not too over the top, just enough highlights to where it blends in with the shot a bit more. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And then what you want to do is you want to select your moon. Don't forget about your moon. So what you want to do is you want to select the color balance tool on your moon and color grade this to something that you think the moon should be. I was originally going to go with like a blue, but then landed on a bit more of a purple. I wouldn't keep it the same color as your planet because at the end of the day you want to add a bit of differentiation in shot. So next thing you're going to do is select the Star Destroyer and add a Gaussian blur to it. What you want to do is you want to keyframe when it first comes into shot and set it to about 10, and then when it's fully in frame or getting there, set the keyframe to 0. And what this is going to do is it's just going to add a bit of a miniature look to your shot. If this was a miniature coming into camera, you'd have that depth of field. So it just adds a bit of imperfection to your shot, really. So here's what you finally get when you've put all that together. I'm pretty happy with that, and I hope you guys are. And here is the version using all the third-party plugins. So yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick tutorial. I didn't want to go through anything too ridiculously. I wanted to go through stuff at a decent speed that you could stop and pause the video at. If you guys liked the tutorial, or if you wanted me to go into more detail, please let me know. And we'll be incorporating other things like this into our schedule in the future. Until then guys, make sure you send your shots in to me and use the assets that we've provided in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys are having a really good day, and I hope to see you in our next video.